She talks about sexual violence against women from Muslim men. Yeah,
this was the worst thing she said. After speaking to Muslim men, they said that if they were back in Afghanistan or whichever country they came from, and there was a woman uncovered this way, they wouldn't be reprimanded for abusing her.
Mm. Yeah, that's a religion.
What the hell's that?
How are you doing, Hamza? Did you see the Mohammad Hijab and Ayaan Hirsi podcast or video?
I was watching it today, actually, and basically everything she says is from her own opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Mohammad Hijab said was from like the Quran, Sunnah, Pew Reports,
academic literature, etc.
She's like, I feel this, and I feel that, and I think this, and I think that.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing, actually. It was embarrassing because I think Mohammad Hijab made a very valid point. Why should we even listen to Assalamu alaikum, brother Ijaz?
Walaikum assalam, guys. What's up?
How are you doing? Ijaz, we were just discussing the interview that Jordan Peterson's daughter did of Mohammad Hijab and Ayaan Hirsi. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I have not. I've seen clips of it. It looks good, but it seems like they were interviewed separately.
So one of the things that I thought was very frustrating, quite frankly, was that Ayaan Hirsi, who is somebody, as he puts it, an apple polisher for, the far right, let's say, and haters of Islam, has no qualification in Islamic studies. Is not an expert.
But she was a Muslim, so she's an expert.
Even though that she was a Muslim, yet she doesn't know the difference between Surah Fatiha being a chapter or a verse. She's supposed to be an ex-Muslim, yet she doesn't know what a hadith and a Quran, the difference between the Quran and the hadith, because she, in her book, makes an error apparently of saying it's from the Quran or it's from hadith when it's in fact the opposite. She's an expert, yet she doesn't know anything about Sharia law, which she claims that she knows about. So she's a nobody basically when it comes to Islamic academia or knowledge. She doesn't quote academic sources when she makes her arguments, like Hamza, you just alluded to. She says, I think that this is what women are going through and the law needs to change to free and the women. Astaghfirullah, she talks about sexual violence against women from Muslim men. Yeah.
I think the worst thing she said.
Has she read the statistics? Has she seen the statistics of what goes on in America and in England?
This was the worst thing she said. She said, this is so far. She said, after speaking to Muslim men, they said that if they were back in Afghanistan or whichever country they came from, and there was a woman uncovered this way, they wouldn't be reprimanded for abusing her.
Mm. Yeah, that's a religion.
What the hell's that?
I can't imagine, like realistically, anyone said anything to our Muslim wives and us men not reacting to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do these people live in an imaginary world where Muslim men don't exist and have like love and protection of their own wives?
Exactly.
What's going on?
Yeah,
I would like to see someone speak harsh to Hamza's wife in front of Hamza. That would be the end of that person.
Yeah.
So in what world? I mean, he sells scarves, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He's the right man to speak to.
It wasn't a debate, and this was what I found very unusual, actually, because as I say, she's unqualified. Ayaan Hirsi has no real knowledge of Islam. She quotes or makes assertions based upon her own anecdotal experiences and opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she is respected widely within Western countries as some form of, a viable and reliable source of information when it comes to understanding Islam and Muslims. And I find that really unusual. And it would be like really, wanting a neurosurgeon and then going to your fishmongers, you know, who is descaling the salmon before, you know, you cook it at home, and you invite him on a show to talk about neuroscience, you know, completely unqualified to be able to do that. But I think what it is, Ijaz, is that, you know, there are people in the West who already have this predisposition to be suspicious about Islam and Muslims, have a very negative opinion about Islam and Muslims because they've been programmed this way by the general right-wing media, right? And misinformation that they read. That when Ayaan Hirsi comes along, you know, somebody who claims to be an ex-Muslim, claims to know about these issues, that as long as she reinforces their own predispositions, they're quite happy to keep inviting her to talk about these things and pushing her books. But it's astonishing that they don't actually first say, actually, you know what is your qualification to talk about this subject that you apparently are so expert at doing? And they don't seem to do that, you know, which I find very, very odd, really. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, Hamza, is that I find it very odd that she was allowed to get away with all the comments that she got away with because Mohammad Hijab simply wasn't aware of what she was saying, because it wasn't a debate or a discussion. It seemed like two separate interviews that were somehow just joined together. And she was asking questions to Ayaan Hirsi and asking questions to Mohammad Hijab. I reckon had there been a discussion between the two, the fact that even then Ayaan Hirsi had a car crash, I think it would have been a complete and utter total destruction of her arguments had Hijab been able to directly interlock with her in a discussion. So I found that very odd, and I think that to some extent, I suspect that that's probably what Ayaan Hirsi was comfortable in doing. I don't think she wanted to have that direct debate or discussion with Hijab, because I think he would have literally ran circles around the nonsense that she was saying. But nevertheless, it was interesting. Yeah.
I think though, if they were in the same room, it would have looked like bullying.
Well, it doesn't have to be. I don't think it has to be in the same room, right? I mean, we're on a stream here. In different locations, you know, in the world or in the city or whatever, and yet we can still be having a conversation, right? A discussion on things.